We have to go now.
It's not safe out there.
Staying is worse, trust me.
Mommy, I'm scared.
The
No.
planet had no real name anymore. On old star maps, it was once marked as blue and alive, but now travelers called it the dying ocean world. Endless rain fell from thick black clouds, never stopping, never slowing. The water had risen so high that cities slept under the waves, their towers broken like bones beneath the surface. Only the tops of metal buildings and shattered bridges could still be seen, shaking as strong winds pushed the ocean again and again. On a narrow platform of rusted alloy, barely floating above the angry water, an alien mother stood still. Her skin was pale blue, marked with thin glowing lines that faded with every breath she took. In her arms, she held her child, small and light, wrapped in torn survival cloth. The child did not cry anymore. Crying needed energy, and energy was something the child no longer had. His eyes were half closed, his breathing weak and uneven. Every breath sounded like a quiet fight against the cold and the rain. The mother pressed the child closer to her chest, trying to shield him from the wind. Her arms trembled, not only from the cold, but from fear. She looked up at the sky again and again, searching for rescue lights that would never come. They had waited for days. At first, there were many others on the platforms, families, elders, wounded soldiers. They believed the evacuation ships would return for them. But the ships only came once, and they only took the rich, the powerful, and the important. The rest were left behind, left to the water, left to silence. The mother remembered the sound of the last ship leaving, its engines loud and bright, cutting through the storm. She remembered how she had screamed, holding her child high, hoping someone would see. No one did. Her mate had been lost earlier, swept away by a sudden wave while searching for food. There was no body, no goodbye, only empty water where he once stood. From that moment, she knew she was alone. The rain grew heavier. A wave crashed against the platform, making it tilt dangerously. The mother adjusted her stance, using her body as a shield, even as icy water soaked her legs. She looked at her child's face, memorizing every small detail, the soft curve of his cheeks, the faint glow of his markings, now barely visible. She whispered sounds of comfort in her native tongue, though her voice was almost lost in the storm. Deep inside her chest, something broke, not loudly, not suddenly, but slowly, like metal bending under pressure. Hope was leaving her, drop by drop. Then, far above the clouds, something changed. For a moment, the rain seemed different, disturbed. A strange shadow passed through the sky, silent but massive. The mother froze. She lifted her head, her eyes wide. Through the dark clouds, a faint light moved, slow and careful, not like a rescue ship, not like a military patrol. It was small alone, and it did not belong. The child shifted weakly in her arms, sensing movement, sensing change. The mother tightened her grip, fear and hope mixing into one painful feeling. She had heard stories, old warnings shared among her people, stories about humans. They were said to be dangerous, unpredictable, creatures of war and fire. Some said humans helped no one but themselves. Others said humans were worse than monsters. The mother had never seen a human before. She did not even know if this ship was human. But the light above was descending, slowly cutting through rain and wind. The platform shook again. Cracks spread along its edge, thin but growing. Time was running out. The mother made a choice without words. With shaking strength, she stepped forward onto the highest point of the platform. She lifted her child toward the sky, exposing herself fully to the storm. If this was the end, then she would face it standing. If this was death, then she would meet it holding her child high. The light grew brighter, close enough now to reflect in her eyes, close enough to show the shape of a cruiser, scarred and worn, nothing like the clean Federation ships. Inside that descending ship, a single decision was about to change many lives. But the mother did not know that yet. All she knew was that the ocean was rising, her strength was fading, and the child in her arms was slipping away. In the heart of a world drowned by water and forgotten by the stars, a final hope hovered in the rain. And sometimes, before a story truly begins, all the universe does is hold its breath. If you want to stay with this story and see what happens next, Gently remember to subscribe to this channel, because what comes after this moment will change everything. The cruiser did not belong in this part of space. Its metal body was scratched and burned, patched together by years of hard travel. No flags, no bright colors, no official markings. Just a silent shape cutting through rain and cloud. Inside the cockpit, a human sat alone, hands steady on the controls, eyes tired but sharp. His name was Aaron Cole, once a cargo pilot for the Federation. Now something else, something unwanted. The Federation had called this planet a dead zone. No rescue missions allowed. No civilian traffic permitted. Anyone entering its atmosphere would face heavy punishment. Aaron knew this. The warning had flashed on his console the moment he crossed the boundary. Red symbols, cold words, legal threats. He ignored them all. He was here for salvage. Old cities meant old tech. Old tech meant credits. And credits meant fuel, repairs, and one more day of freedom. The rain battered the hull as the cruiser descended lower. Sensors struggled, screens flickered. This world did not want visitors. Then the alert sounded. Not loud, not urgent, just a soft tone. Life signal detected. Weak, unstable, human unclassified. Aaron frowned. That was impossible. Evacuation had ended weeks ago. No one should still be alive down there. He leaned forward, adjusting the scanner. The signal flickered but stayed. 2 life signs. 1 adult, 1 child. His jaw tightened. He had seen this before. Leftovers of someone else's decision. People marked as not worth saving. The ship AI spoke calmly, without emotion. Life signs confirmed. Rescue prohibited under Federation law. Recommendation: continue salvage operation. Aaron let out a slow breath. He remembered the day he stopped trusting recommendations. Years ago, on a different border world, he had followed orders. He had flown away while families waved from burning ground. He told himself it was not his fault. He told himself rules mattered more than faces. That lie still woke him at night. The cruiser shook as a strong wind pushed it sideways. Rain slammed against the glass. Below him, broken towers reached up like drowning hands. He zoomed in on the signal. The image was unclear, distorted by water and debris. But he saw movement. A figure standing on a thin platform. Something small held close to its chest. An alien. Definitely alien. Aaron leaned back, running a hand over his face. Alien rescues were worse than civilian ones. The Federation hated complications. And aliens always became complications. The AI spoke again. Fuel reserves limited. Hull damage risk increasing. Advise immediate ascent. Aaron laughed quietly, a dry sound. Always advising, never living. He thought about turning away. About marking the signal as error. About telling himself there was nothing he could do. The ship could still leave. No one would know. No record would remain. But then the image sharpened for a moment, and he saw the child. Small, limp, unmoving. Held with a care that crossed every species line. Something inside him shifted. Not fast, not dramatic. Just a quiet refusal to repeat the past. He pushed the control forward. The cruiser dipped lower, engines whining under the strain. The AI paused, then spoke again. Course change detected. This action violates multiple protocols. Aaron answered without looking away. Yeah, I know. Rain filled the view, almost blinding now. The platform appeared between waves, rising and falling dangerously. Another alert flashed. Federation patrol signatures detected at long range. Estimated arrival unknown. Aaron's heart rate increased. They were closer than expected. Someone had been watching this world after all. He had seconds, maybe minutes, to make a choice that could end his freedom forever. He looked at the alien mother on the screen. Saw how she stood tall despite exhaustion. Saw how she lifted the child toward the sky. Not begging, not hiding. Respect hit him harder than fear. He slowed the cruiser, activating external lights. Bright white beams cut through rain and darkness. The ship hovered, unstable but holding. Aaron powered down weapon systems, lowered the ramp controls, exposed himself completely. The AI issued its final warning. This decision will result in permanent record flagging. Future access to Federation space may be denied. Aaron smiled slightly. wouldn't be the first door they closed. Below him, the platform cracked again. Water surged higher. Time ran out for hesitation. He whispered, more to himself than anyone else. All right, let's see what kind of trouble you are. The cruiser descended another meter. Close enough now that the alien could see him through the rain. Two strangers, from different worlds, locked eyes for the first time. Neither knew what the other truly was. Only that walking away was no longer possible. Above them, the storm raged. Behind them, the Federation watched. And in that narrow space between fear and mercy, a human did something he was never supposed to do. The rain fell harder as the cruiser hovered above the broken platform. Wind pushed sheets of water sideways, making the world feel unstable and unreal. For a long moment, nothing moved. The alien mother stood frozen, her arms locked around her child, her body tense, ready to protect or run, though there was nowhere left to go. She had expected fire. She had expected weapons. Stories said humans arrived with noise and destruction. Instead, the ship was quiet. Its lights were bright but soft, not blinding. The engines hummed low, controlled, careful. The ramps slowly lowered, metal moving through rain, with a deep echo. From the shadow inside the ship, a single figure appeared. The human stepped forward. He was tall compared to her, wrapped in a dark jacket, water running down his shoulders. His hands were empty, clearly visible. He stopped at the edge of the ramp and did not move closer. Their eyes met. For the alien mother, this was the moment she feared most. Up close, the human did not look like a monster. His face showed lines of age and tiredness, not cruelty. His eyes held caution, but also something she did not expect, concern. For Aaron, the moment hit just as hard. He had seen many aliens before, through screens and battle reports. Never like this. Never a mother holding a child while the world drowned around them. The child stirred weakly. A small sound escaped his throat, barely louder than the rain. The mother looked down, panic flashing across her face. She shifted her grip, whispering softly. Her voice trembled, filled with fear and love, even if the words meant nothing to Aaron. He took one slow step forward, then stopped again. He raised one hand, palm open, fingers relaxed. A universal sign. I am not here to hurt you. The ship AI spoke quietly through Aaron's earpiece. Hull stability decreasing. Platform integrity critical. A loud crack echoed beneath them. The platform tilted sharply, water flooding over its surface. The mother nearly lost her footing but held firm, using her body to keep the child above the water. That was enough. Aaron moved faster now. He stepped off the ramp onto the platform, boots splashing into icy water. The rain soaked him instantly. The mother backed away, fear taking over. She turned slightly, shielding the child with her body. Her glowing markings pulsed faintly, reacting to stress. Aaron stopped again, only a few steps away. He slowly removed his jacket, movements careful and slow. Then he gently laid it on the wet metal between them. Warm fabric. Dry. Human scent. Unfamiliar, but not threatening. He pointed to the jacket, then to the child. His voice was calm, low, almost lost in the storm. Please. The word meant nothing to her, but the tone did. Another crack thundered beneath the platform. A section of metal broke away and vanished into the dark water below. The mother realized the truth. There was no more time. No more waiting. Her legs shook as she stepped forward. She kept her eyes on the human, searching for any sign of danger. She placed the child gently onto the jacket, still holding him, not letting go. Aaron slowly knelt, lowering himself to her level. He kept his distance, but leaned close enough to see the child clearly. The child's skin was cold, too cold. His breathing was shallow, each breath a struggle. Aaron swallowed hard. Medical pod, now he said into his calm. The AI responded instantly. Medical bay ready. Immediate extraction required. Aaron looked back at the mother. He pointed to the ship, then to the child. He touched his own chest, then pointed upward. I help. The mother hesitated. Trust did not come easily, especially from a stranger from the stars. Another wave crashed over the platform, soaking them both. The child did not react. Fear turned into decision. With shaking arms, The mother allowed Aaron to lift the child. Her hands did not leave him until the last possible moment. Her fingers trembled as they finally let go. Aaron held the child carefully, as if carrying something precious and fragile. He turned toward the ship, moving fast but steady. The platform groaned loudly. Metal bent. Water rushed in. The mother followed, stepping where he stepped, trusting his path without words. As they reached the ramp, the platform behind them broke apart completely, disappearing into the ocean. The ramp lifted, sealing them inside the cruiser. Rain and noise faded, replaced by soft lights and warm air. The mother collapsed to her knees, exhausted, overwhelmed. Aaron placed the child gently into the medical pod. The pod sealed, lights scanning, machines working silently. For the first time since the flood began, the child's breathing began to steady. The mother looked up at Aaron. Their eyes met again. This time, fear was still there, but something new joined it. Hope. Outside, the storm continued, but inside the small, scarred cruiser, two worlds had collided, and neither would ever be the same again. The cruiser shook as it pulled away from the flooded ruins. Engines strained against gravity and storm, rising slowly through heavy clouds. Inside, warning lights flashed across the cockpit, painting the walls in red and amber. Aaron stayed focused on the controls, jaw tight, breath steady. Behind him, the medical pod hummed softly. The alien child lay inside, surrounded by pale blue light, machines working to warm his body and push air gently into his lungs. The alien mother stood near the pod, her legs weak, one hand pressed against the glass. She watched every flicker of light, every movement inside. Fear had not left her. It had only changed shape. The ship AI broke the silence. Unauthorized life forms detected on board. This action is a direct violation of Federation rescue and contact law. Aaron did not turn around. He adjusted power flow, diverting energy from shields to engines. I know, he said quietly. Violation level critical, the AI continued. If reported, penalties include seizure of vessel, lifetime travel ban, and imprisonment. The words hung heavy in the air. The mother did not understand the language, but she understood the tone. She turned slowly to look at the human, her eyes wide, uncertain. Aaron glanced at her, then at the child. For a moment, his hands froze over the controls. This was the point of no return. He remembered his old Federation badge, locked away in a storage box. He remembered believing the system was fair, that rules protected people. He remembered the first time he learned that rules could also be used to abandon them. Years ago, on a burning colony world, he had received an order. Hold position, evacuate priority assets only. He had followed that order. He had flown away while people screamed from the ground. He had told himself there was nothing else he could do. That memory never left him. A sharp alert sounded, pulling him back to the present. Long-range scanned update. Federation patrol ships closing distance. Estimated time to intercept 7 minutes. The mother stiffened, sensing danger. Her markings pulsed brighter, reacting to stress. She stepped closer to the pod, placing herself between the child and the human without thinking. Aaron noticed. He raised both hands slowly, showing calm. "You are safe," he said softly, even if she could not understand the words. The AI spoke again, more urgent now. "Recommend immediate surrender. Compliance may reduce sentence severity." Aaron let out a slow breath. He looked at the navigation screen, then at a hidden star map only he still used. An unregistered route, a forgotten safe zone. Going there meant cutting all official ties forever. No ports, no contracts, no protection. Just empty space, and whatever choices he could live with. He turned in his seat, finally facing the alien mother. He pointed to himself, then to the ship. Then he pointed toward the stars on the screen, away from the flashing patrol markers. She followed his gestures carefully. Her gaze moved from the stars back to the medical pod, then back to his face. She understood one thing clearly. This human was choosing, and his choice involved risk. Another alert echoed through the cockpit. Patrol ships now within visual range. Weapon systems charging. Aaron moved fast. He rerouted power, pushing the engines beyond safe limits. The cruiser groaned, Metal screaming under pressure. Warning. Hull integrity compromised, the AI said. This maneuver is not advised. Aaron smiled grimly. Seems like a bad time for advice. The mother stumbled as the ship lurched forward. She grabbed a support rail, still keeping one hand near the pod. Fear filled her chest again, but she did not scream. Through the forward window, distant lights appeared, sharp and cold. Federation ships, clean and perfect, closing in. Aaron's finger hovered over the jump control. Jumping this close to atmosphere could tear the ship apart. Waiting meant capture. He thought of the child, of the way his breathing had steadied, of the future that still existed, fragile but real. He pressed the control. The cruiser surged forward, space bending violently around it. Alarm screamed. Lights flickered, gravity twisted. For a heartbeat, everything went silent. Then stars stretched into white lines. The ship tore itself free from the dying planet, vanishing into hyperspace, just as patrol weapons fired into empty sky. Inside the cruiser, systems struggled to stabilize. The medical pod held, its glow steady. The alien mother fell to her knees, overwhelmed. Aaron remained seated, hands shaking now that the danger had passed. The AI spoke one final time. Its tone changed, quieter. Federation tracking lost. Current status, permanently unregistered. Aaron closed his eyes. So that is it, he whispered. He had broken the rules. Not by accident, not by ignorance, but by choice. And somewhere in the soft light of the medical pod, a child still breathed. Alive because one human decided that some rules were never worth following. The jump ended violently. Stars snapped back into place, and the cruiser shuddered as if it might tear itself apart. Warning lights exploded across every panel, flashing red in rapid rhythm. Aaron was thrown forward in his seat, restraints biting into his shoulders. The ship screamed. Metal bending under stress, it was never designed to survive. Engine temperature critical. Navigation unstable. Hull breach detected on lower aft section. The AI's voice stayed calm, but the words came faster now. Emergency repairs required. Aaron forced himself to breathe. He fought the controls, leveling the ship just as gravity normalized. Outside the viewport, empty space stretched endlessly, dark and cold. They were alive, but not safe. Behind him, the medical pod chimed softly. The alien child's vitals flickered, then steadied again. Still breathing, still holding on. The alien mother clutched the edge of the pod, her body shaking. She had never traveled through jump space before. Her legs barely held her weight. Aaron turned his chair slowly, raising his hands to show calm. "It is over," he said gently. For now. She did not understand the words, but she understood his eyes. The danger was not finished. The AI interrupted the moment. New development. Residual tracking signature detected. Aaron's heart sank. "They tagged us, didn't they?" he muttered. Confirmation. Low-level quantum tracer attached during jump exit. Federation patrol may reacquire position within hours. Hours. Not days. Not weeks. The Federation did not forgive broken rules, especially when those rules involved aliens and public failure. Aaron stood, moving toward the engineering panel. He pulled open a floor hatch, sparks flying as damaged systems struggled. "If they find us," he said quietly, more to himself than anyone else, "they won't ask questions." He worked fast, hands dirty with oil and coolant. Every movement practiced from years of survival on the edge of lawful space. The mother watched him closely. She saw pain in the way he moved. She saw fear, controlled but real. She placed one hand on her chest, then on the pod. Then slowly, carefully, she reached toward him. Aaron froze, turning his head. She extended her hand, palm open, glowing markings pulsing softly. Not a threat, an offer. She spoke, her voice low and musical, filled with strange tones. He did not understand the words, but he understood the meaning. "We survived together." The AI spoke again, cutting through the silence. Multiple Federation signatures detected. Vector analysis indicates interception course. "Too fast," Aaron whispered. They should not be this close. The truth hit him hard. This was not just a patrol. This was a hunt. The Federation ships appeared on the edge of the scanner, clean and sharp. Predators moving with perfect coordination. Aaron slammed the hatch shut and rushed back to the controls. He powered up the engines again, despite the damage. The cruiser protested, alarm screaming in protest. Warning: engine failure probability increasing. Evasion recommended, but success chance low. Aaron grinned tightly. Low is still a chance. He pulled the ship into a sudden roll, diving toward a nearby debris field. Broken satellites, ancient wreckage, frozen remains of forgotten wars. Federation weapons fire lit the darkness behind them. Bright energy beams cutting through space, missing by meters. The mother cried out as the ship shook violently. She fell against the pod, wrapping her body around it instinctively, protecting her child even as death chased them. Aaron flew like a man possessed, weaving through metal and stone, using debris as cover, trusting instinct more than instruments. A blast struck the hull. The cruiser spun, systems flickering, gravity failing for a terrifying second. Hull integrity at 30%. Critical systems failing. Aaron's vision blurred. Blood trickled from a cut above his eye. Still, he did not slow. He glanced back once. Saw the mother holding the pod. Her eyes locked on him. Not fear now. Belief. That look burned into him. He would not fail again. Ahead, a shadow appeared on the scanner. A dense gravity well, unmarked, unstable. Aaron's breath caught. An old smuggler legend. A hidden dead zone where sensors failed and laws meant nothing. The AI warned immediately. Entering this region may result in total system loss. Aaron laughed, breathless. Sounds perfect. He pushed the engines one last time. The cruiser screamed as it crossed the boundary. Space twisted. Sensors went blind. Behind them, Federation ships slowed, hesitant. Their perfect formation broke. Then silence. The stars returned slowly, dim and strange. The cruiser drifted, damaged but intact. Federation signals vanished. For now. Aaron slumped back in his seat, chest heaving. He had saved lives. And for that, he had been hunted like an animal. Behind him, the alien child shifted inside the pod. A small hand pressed weakly against the glass. The mother let out a trembling breath, tears falling freely now. She looked at the human who had risked everything. And in that moment, she understood something deep and frightening. Humans were not just survivors. They were defiers. And the galaxy was not done testing that yet. Silence filled the cruiser. Not the peaceful kind, but the fragile kind that could break at any second. The ship drifted inside the dead zone, surrounded by twisted stars and weak light. Sensors were blind here. Signals died before they could travel. Even the Federation feared this place. Aaron sat still for several seconds, hands resting on the controls. His breathing slowly returned to normal. Every muscle in his body ached. The AI spoke carefully now, as if the space itself demanded respect. All external tracking signals lost. Power systems operating at minimal efficiency. This region is unsuitable for long-term travel. Good enough for now, Aaron replied quietly. Behind him, the medical pod released a soft tone. Status update, patient stabilized. Core temperature rising. Respiration improving. The alien mother moved instantly. She pressed closer to the pod, her hand flat against the glass. Her shoulders shook as relief finally escaped her control. For the first time since the flood, she allowed herself to rest. Only for a moment, but even moments mattered now. Aaron stood slowly, pain pulling at his side. He grabbed a small medical kit from the wall and pressed a patch against his bleeding forehead. He watched the mother carefully, not wanting to frighten her. She noticed him watching. Their eyes met again. This time there was no storm between them. No weapons. No chase. Just two survivors sharing the same fragile space. Aaron placed a small container of water on the floor near her. He opened it slowly, took a sip, then set it down and stepped back. An offer, not a command. The mother hesitated, then reached for it. She sniffed the air, cautious, then drank, slowly, carefully. Her eyes widened slightly. Clean, warm. Life. She looked up at Aaron, studying his face. The scars. The tired eyes. The way he moved with pain but never complained. She spoke softly in her own language. He did not understand the words, but the tone carried something heavy. A question. Why? Aaron understood that question without translation. He leaned against the wall, choosing his words even though they would not matter. Because leaving you there was wrong, he said. Because I have done that before, and I will not do it again. She did not understand the words, but she understood the truth behind them. The child inside the pod shifted. His eyes fluttered open for the first time. Weak, unfocused, but alive. The mother gasped, a sound halfway between laughter and tears. She leaned closer, whispering his name again and again. The child's gaze slowly moved, past the lights, past the ceiling, until it landed on Aaron. Their eyes met. The child did not cry, did not scream. He simply watched. Then, slowly, his small hand lifted, pressing weakly against the glass, toward the human. Something tight formed in Aaron's chest. He stepped closer without thinking, placing his hand against the other side of the glass. Human skin and alien skin, separated by only a thin barrier. The mother watched this silently. Her people believed humans were destroyers, bringers of chaos, creatures who survived by crushing others. But what she saw now did not match the stories. She saw a being who broke rules to save a child, who faced hunters without hesitation, who stood between danger and those who could not fight back. She reached into a small pouch woven into her clothing, carefully pulling out a thin crystal shard, glowing faintly. She held it out to Aaron, a gift, a symbol of trust among her people, given only to protectors. Aaron hesitated, then accepted it with both hands. He bowed his head slightly, instinctively respectful. The AI interrupted softly. Power reserves decreasing. Recommend relocation to nearest hidden safe haven. Aaron nodded. There's a place, he said quietly. Not much, but safe. He entered new coordinates. A forgotten outpost beyond map space. A place where broken people hid and survived. The engines warmed slowly. The cruiser began to move again. As the stars shifted, the mother looked out at the dark unknown. Fear still lived in her heart, but it was no longer alone. She looked back at the human, and for the first time, she understood what humans really were. Not heroes, not monsters, but beings who chose. And sometimes, that choice was enough to change the fate of a child, a mother, and an entire future. The cruiser traveled quietly through deep space. No alarms, no weapons fire, no chasing lights. Only the low hum of engines and the soft rhythm of life returning. Days passed, measured not by clocks but by small changes. The alien child began to breathe without the machine. His color grew stronger. The faint glow of his markings returned. Each small improvement felt like a victory against the universe itself. The hidden outpost appeared at last. A lonely structure built into the shadow of a dead moon. Old, patched, forgotten by official maps, but alive. Aaron guided the cruiser in carefully. The damaged hull groaned one last time before resting. The engines powered down. Silence followed, heavy and real. The doors opened to warm air and dim lights. Other beings watched from a distance. Humans, aliens, survivors of broken systems. All of them carried stories written in loss. The alien mother stepped out slowly, holding her child close. She expected fear. She expected rejection. Instead, people stepped aside, making space. No questions. No demands. A healer approached, gentle and calm. They examined the child, nodded softly. He will live, they said. The mother closed her eyes. Her knees nearly gave way. The weight she had carried across a dying planet finally lifted. Aaron watched from a short distance, not seeking thanks, not waiting for praise. He had learned long ago that true choices rarely came with rewards. Later, under the quiet artificial sky of the outpost, the mother approached him, her child asleep against her shoulder, safe and warm. She spoke slowly, using simple shared symbols and sounds, learning, adapting, bridging the space between worlds. She told him of her people, how the floods came suddenly, how the Federation promised help and never returned, how names were important to them. Names carried memory. Names carried honor. She touched the crystal she had given him, then touched her heart, then pointed toward the stars. Among her people, she explained, those who saved lives were never forgotten. Their names were spoken to children, carried forward like light. She asked him for his name again, carefully this time. Aaron, he said, simply. She repeated it, slowly, respectfully, then added something more. A new name, one her people would use. It meant something close to guardian of the lost, one who arrives when hope is gone. Aaron did not fully understand the words, but he understood the meaning. News traveled quietly through unofficial channels. Whispers of a human who defied the Federation, who rescued an alien child from a drowned world, who vanished into forgotten space. The Federation never admitted its mistake, but patrols avoided the dead zone now, and evacuation laws were quietly rewritten, not because of mercy, but because fear had learned respect. The alien child grew stronger with each passing week. He laughed for the first time under artificial stars, a soft sound that stopped conversations and made hardened survivors smile. He learned to walk in the corridors of the outpost, often following Aaron, holding onto his finger with surprising strength. The mother watched them together, a human and an alien child, different worlds, same future. One night, as the stars shifted beyond the station's shields, Aaron stood alone, looking out into space, wondering how many others were still waiting on forgotten worlds. The mother joined him, standing beside him in silence. She looked at the stars, then at him, then placed her hand over his heart. She did not need words. Somewhere far away, the drowned planet continued to sink beneath endless rain. But its story did not end there, because in the darkness of the galaxy, a new name had been written among the stars, not by power, not by law, but by a simple human choice. And long after ships and systems failed, that name would be remembered as proof that even in a cruel universe, humanity could still be a light,